tips and strategies to help you become the best homeschooler. People today are homeschooling their children, more so than ever before according to statistics. Once considered a fringe situation, it is now very common for people to do this. Kids that are homeschooled are taught via quite a few different curriculums. Pairing up with other families to homeschool is quite common nowadays. You can help educate your children using online schools as well. Finding the best way to educate your children is, at times, a difficult thing at best. Let's now look at some important homeschooling tips that you can use, especially if you aspire to be the teacher for your children. Becoming scared or distracted along the way is quite common. One reason that people choose to homeschool their kids is because they cannot afford to send their kids to a private school. It's perfectly acceptable to try to be frugal as you homeschool your kids, but don't go overboard. When you teach your children the curriculum, you want them to remember what they are taught. You may have to buy additional supplemental materials to help them retain what they have learned. There are ways to homeschool on a budget, but don't be afraid to spend some money once in a while. Buying everything that is available is simply not necessary. But you shouldn't try to buy nothing. You basically have to find that middle ground in regard to your bank account, in which you need to do. Contact other homeschooling families and do some group activities. Socializing with other children is probably one of the more difficult aspects of homeschooling. This gives everyone a chance to intermingle with people in their area, plus delegate responsibilities in regard to homeschooling the kids. They just don't get enough. You might want to schedule activities with other homeschooling families to solve this need. It will make everything much more enjoyable, plus relieve the burden of having to teach your children every day. There are probably other families nearby that also homeschool their children. If you are not competent with certain subjects, you might want to hire a tutor. So let's say that you are not very good at math. You could hire a tutor to help your kids with math so that they can succeed. You really need to do this. It is the best decision for your children for the long term. This would not be the right course of action, right? Basically, when you hire a tutor, it allows your children to receive competent information from a reliable source. You certainly wouldn't want your children to have the same deficiencies that you have. Certain subjects that are problematic for you will not be a problem when you have a tutor. Homeschooling lets you loosen up and allows you to ditch the strictness of traditional classroom learning. Figuring out how to make sure that you give your child the best education possible is a maddening and scary thing. You don't have to aim for perfection in the beginning. As you move ahead, you'll learn more and you can use these recommendations to stay ahead of the game.